We'll find out the answer by studying the agricultural seasons, Rabi, Kharif and Zaid. In the kind of crops grown and facilities available, Palampur would resemble a village of the western part of the states of Uttar Pradesh. All land is cultivated in Palampur. No land is left idle. During the rainy season, Kharif farmers grow jowar and bajra. These plants are used as cattle feed. It is followed by the cultivation of potato during October and December. In the winter season, rabi fields are sown with wheat. From the wheat produced, farmers keep enough wheat for their family's consumption and sell the surplus wheat at the market at Raiganj. A part of the land area is also devoted to sugarcane, which is harvested once every year. Sugarcane in its raw form or as jaggery is sold to the traders in Shahpur. The main reason why farmers are able to grow three different crops in a year in Palampur is due to the well developed system of irrigation. Electricity came early to Palampur. Its major impact was to transform the system of irrigation. Persian wheels were till then used by farmers to draw water from the wells and irrigate small fields. People saw that the electric run tube wells could irrigate much larger areas of land more effectively. The first few tube wells were installed by the government. Soon, however, farmers started setting up private tube wells. As a result, by mid 1970s, the entire cultivated area of 200 hectares was irrigated. To grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year is known as multiple cropping. It is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. As farmers in Palampur grow at least two main crops, many are growing potato as the third crop in the past 15 to 20 years. You have seen that one way of increasing production from the same land is by multiple cropping. The other way is to use modern farming methods for higher yield. Yield is measured as a crop produced on a given piece of land during a single season. Till the mid 1960s, the seeds used in cultivation were traditional ones with relatively low yields. Traditional seeds needed less irrigation. Farmers used cow dung and other natural manure as fertilizers. All these were readily available with the farmers who did not have to buy them. The Green Revolution was the worldwide transformation in agriculture and it led to the significant increase in agricultural production in the late 1960s and early 70s. The term Green Revolution was first coined in the year 1968 in India. Norman Ernest Borlaug was an American agronomist who led initiatives worldwide that contributed to the extensive increases in the agricultural production termed as the Green Revolution. The Green Revolution in the late 1960s introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat and rice using high yielding varieties HYV seeds. Compared to the traditional seeds, the HYV seeds promised to produce much greater amounts of grain on a single plant. As a result, the same piece of land would now produce far larger quantities of food grains than was possible earlier. HYV seeds, however, needed plenty of water and also chemical fertilizers and pesticides to produce best results. Higher yields were possible only from the combination of HYV seeds, irrigation, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc. Farmers of Punjab, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out the modern farming method in India. The farmers in these regions set up tube wells for irrigation and made use of HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers, and pesticides in farming. Some of them bought farm machinery like tractors and threshers, which made plowing and harvesting faster. They were rewarded with high yields of wheat. In Palampur, the yield of wheat grown from the traditional varieties was 1300 kg per hectare. With the HYV seeds, the yields went up to 3200 kgs per hectare. There was a large increase in the production of wheat. Farmers now had greater amounts of surplus wheat to sell in the markets. Now, another important question: with the use of multiple cropping and green revolution, will the land sustain? Land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be very careful in its use. Scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. In many areas, green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemical fertilizers. Also, continuous use of groundwater from tube well irrigation has reduced the water table below the ground. Environmental resources like soil fertility and groundwater are built up over many years. Once destroyed, it is very difficult to restore them. We must try and take care of the environment to ensure future development of agriculture. How is land distributed between the farmers of Palampur? You must have realized how important land is for farming. Unfortunately, not all the people are engaged in agriculture have sufficient land for cultivation. In Palampur, about one third of the 450 families are landless. That is, 150 families, most of them Dalits, have no land for cultivation. Of the remaining families who own land, 240 families cultivate small plots of land less than 2 hectares in size. Cultivation of such plots doesn't bring adequate income to the farmer family. You can see the large number of small plots scattered around the village in the picture. These are cultivated by the small farmers. On the other hand, more than half the area of the village is covered by the plots that are quite large in size. In Palampur, there are 60 families of medium and large farmers who cultivate more than 2 hectares of land. A few of the large farmers have land extending over 10 hectares or more. Now we are going to study that from where does the labor come from. After land, labor is the next necessary factor for production. Farming requires a great deal of hard work. Small farmers, along with their families, cultivate their own fields. Thus, they provide the labor required for farming themselves. Medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their fields. Now, who are farm laborers? Farm laborers come from either landless families or families cultivating small plots of land. Unlike farmers, farm laborers do not have a right over the crops grown on the land. Instead, they are paid wages by the farmer for whom they work. Wages can be in cash or in kind, for example, crop. Sometimes laborers get meals also. Wages vary widely from region to region, from crop to crop, from one farm activity to another, like sowing and harvesting. There is also a wide variation in the duration of employment. A farm laborer might be employed on a daily basis, or for a particular farm activity like harvesting, or for the whole year. Where does the capital needed in farming come from? You have already seen that the modern farming methods require a great deal of capital, so that the farmer now needs more money than before. Most small farmers have to borrow money to arrange for the capital. They borrow from large farmers or village money lenders or the traders who supply various inputs for cultivation. The rate of interest on such loans is very high. They are put to great distress to repay the loan. In contrast to the small farmers, the medium and the large farmers have their own savings from farming. They are thus able to arrange for the capital needed. Let us discuss about the non-farm activities. We have learnt about farming as the main production activity in Palampur. We shall now take a look at some of the non-farm activities. Only 25% of the people working in Palampur are engaged in activities other than agriculture. Dairy is a common activity in many families of Palampur. People feed their buffaloes on various kinds of grass and the jowar and bajra that grows during the rainy season. The milk produced is later on sold in the neighboring cities and towns at good profit. This is the main occupation for people during the rainy season. Now let us talk about an example of small scale manufacturing in Palampur. At present, less than 50 people are engaged in manufacturing in Palampur. Unlike the manufacturing that takes place in big factories in the towns and cities, manufacturing in Palampur involves very simple production methods and are done on a small scale. They are carried out mostly at home or in the fields with the help of family labor. Rarely are laborers hired. The shopkeepers of Palampur, people involved in trade, that is, exchange of goods, are not many in Palampur. The traders of Palampur are shopkeepers who buy various goods from wholesale markets in the cities and sell them in the village. You will see small general stores in the village selling a wide range of items like rice, wheat, sugar, tea, oil, biscuits, soap, toothpaste, batteries, candles, notebooks, pen, pencil, even some cloth. A few of the families whose houses are close to the bus stand have used a part of the space to open small shops. They sell eatables. Transport is a fast developing sector. There are variety of vehicles on the road connecting Palampur to Raiganj. Rickshawalas, tongawalas, jeep, tractor, truck drivers and people driving the traditional bullock cart and bogie are people in the transport services. They ferry people and goods from one place to another and in return get paid for it. The number of people involved in transport has grown over the last several years. With this slide, I come to the end of the chapter. I have put a flowchart in the end for your learning purpose. Thank you.